This reading is for Ray. Ray, thank you so much for choosing me to do your reading today. I'm apologizing for the wait as I recovered from my surgery, but let's jump right into it. So it does seem like currently you're kind of second guessing or questioning or having doubts about something that has to do with like business, career, opportunity, maybe a bit on a job, something like that. My advice to you is not to move forward until you're really ready and certain that this is all that it's going to crack up to be and that you can actually finish this opportunity. It seems like it does have better money being offered to you, but I just want to advise you that it could fall apart or fall through unexpectedly. So if you jump into this new job, you get this offer and you accept it, I would definitely wait until the money is actually in your account steadily and not spend ahead. Not be like, oh, I can spend this amount because I know I have this large check that'll be coming in the future. Because I do feel like there's something on the other end that could fall through and they decide not to use you in the long run. And that's not to discourage you. It's just to remind you to be careful and not to overspend, believing like you could make up for it down the line, because I just feel like things could fall through. So in career, I feel like you've had a lot of ups and downs, successes, but limited, and there's been a lot of delays with things. So we can talk more about the reasons why and how to kind of counteract some of that as we go along in this reading. When it comes to challenges, going on for you, and this is in the second card here, it does seem like you are having a hard time with managing money as a whole, especially when you are acquiring a large sum. I kind of want you to learn to draw the energy of self-discipline in a little bit and self-control so that you can save for emergency or save to have money for when you are in between jobs. Still definitely enjoy money when it comes, but give it respect and honor it. You do tend to stress a lot about finances, which, it is normal for people. I feel like with you, it is a bit more than the average person. So it really does affect your personal relationships and your well-being when you're short on funds. So I really want you to try to work hard, even though, it can be a struggle to make ends meet, to have a little safety net in place again for when things happen where you are in between jobs and that are a large expense. That type of thing tends to pop up. Consciously, I think that you're aware that sometimes you do have a difficult time working in harmony with other people, be it on, a work crew or, with coworkers, partnerships. That can make it difficult with projects and getting things done for sure, and add to delays. I do feel like you're spending a lot of energy when you work kind of upset. Maybe it's because there's a limited amount of resources that you need to get the job done, or, the timelines are not what you need them to be. But I feel like this also puts you far and in between jobs and kind of having a steady income, which is pretty much what you need for that peace of mind that you're seeking. But I feel like you're aware of that. Unconsciously, I don't think that you're aware that you really do have the energy and the motivation to get things done, and that the problem is that you are not channeling it effectively. I feel like this might be due to a diagnosis of ADHD, should you decide to go and seek one, or if you don't already have one. Considering maybe getting some treatment for that might be life-changing for you, especially when it comes to your ability to stay focused career-wise. And don't take that in the wrong way. I have a diagnosis of ADHD myself, so I understand the struggle. It's kind of like, let me see how I could word this. You get restless and frustrated because there's things you want to take action on, but there's always something that's kind of like holding you back, and then you make rash or like impulsive decisions. And that's just because your thoughts are so racing and so scattered sometimes. And then when that's over, you just feel exhausted and kind of burnt out from the chaos of it all. And then you kind of can't do anything, or you're too frustrated to move forward. So I hope that makes sense for you. This is talking about your recent past. And it looks like you recently went through, basically, what this card would represent is just some major bullshit. It's something that popped up that you didn't even see was coming. And that might just be because you were too sidetracked with everything to kind of see the signs of it happening. But it's definitely something that left you feeling, I want to say, shocked. And when you realized the entirety of it, you were like in this period of grieving and sadness. There's this feeling of having been betrayed around this. And I know you definitely feel like the victim of the situation when it happened. Into your near future, I think you're going to take some time to kind of evaluate more what's important to you, especially again when it comes to money. Money is just all over this reading for you. And I think there's going to be periods of time where you're still going to wrestle with wanting to spend, unconsciously just spend, hoping it's going to bring back happiness from a little bit of that depression you're still suffering from that event that happened with the betrayal. But just know when you spend like that, whether it's, nights out at the bar, slamming beer back with friends, or, an expensive new tool, all that's going to do is give you that moment of happiness. And then in the end, it's going to result in more stress for you and more anxiety, as your bank account declines. So I feel like in the near future, you're going to put in a more conscious effort to kind of break some of those patterns. And that's your near future. That's typically, a 3 to 6 month period out. When it comes to advice for you, I feel like a lot of your underlying depression and anxiety really does stem from a lot of unpleasant memories from your past that keep kicking up. I think when you do have periods of quiet time, which I don't feel like you give yourself enough of, you tend to focus on the sadder events and disappointments that have happened for you. I think it's super important that you take some time to consciously remember the happy moments, the stuff that was good that you can recall from your childhood or teenage years, your young adult, years. And take time to think about those things, because those were your greatest happinesses. And even if, you feel inspired to journal them out where you can look back, I think that's important. I think, it could be something as simple as, you sitting down to color, or going back to sitting peacefully fishing somewhere, or calling a childhood friend to reminisce, and kind of taking physical actions to bring those simple happinesses from your childhood into your future, so that you can feel playful and experience some of those happinesses again. It's super important that you remember happy time for Ray. Super important. Now, when it comes to people in your life, it does seem like there is a lack of deeply connected, close friendships at this point. It is time for you to get out there and meet new friends and people. As far as love goes, I feel like with your partners, you both are really quick to fall like madly in love with each other. And then there's like this boredom quickly after. So it's like this real high and just this real bored. And to kind of kick it up a notch, there's this little bit of let's have petty quarrels and things like that to keep the spark going. And sometimes that turns real toxic for you, and the relationships end up being a shit show. So to kind of break the cycle of that, I want you to, in relationships, whether, current or in the future, to try new things together that are positive to keep the spark alive, like going on adventures, going out to do things, trying new things together, and not fall into that comfort zone and routine of just always, work, 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 plop down on the couch with our phones, and the TV on and tune each other out. There's not enough connection in that for you to sustain a relationship. And in that pattern, the fighting, it is the only excitement. And like I said, that quickly spirals into something truly negative. And then there's this other BS that goes on the side once that connection breaks. And I want you to get out of that habit. So my advice to you is to schedule outings and adventures, and whether it's hiking or driving to a new town to go eat or whatever, to be doing things together, positive things together. As far as your fears, I feel like you have this fear of making promises that you can't keep and saying things that you'll regret later. You really worry about your words and whether you're annoying people. So like when you have doubts about something, you're like, I shouldn't ask that many questions. But just know it's okay. It's okay to talk. It's okay to ask questions so you fully understand the situation better. As long as you're being conscious of how you come across, and you're only challenging things that are like truly important, definitely open your mouth when you need to. And as far as your future goes, and this is going out about 6 months to a year, I feel like you're going to take some time to pause and see things from some different perspectives. You'll be filling your days with a lot of projects and tasks, which that doesn't surprise me because I know you really like to work and work with your hands. Remember not to work for the sole purpose of it being a distraction from other things going on in your life. You don't want any more surprises popping up at you, and you don't want to be caught off guard. So you kind of want to be present in all aspects. Remember during the future to make time for play, and I feel like with a little encouragement, you will get there. Give yourself opportunities to be in places where you can explore new things and make new friends. And just remember that it's okay to let yourself slow down sometimes, even when your mind is racing. Work through those thoughts and try to change some of those negative thoughts into more positive thoughts in the future. Sometimes you just need to surrender to the way things are, kind of let go of that deep attachment that you have of having to make things go exactly how you need them. Sometimes you do have to go with the flow of things. And that came up in a reading I did for somebody else earlier. So that kind of cracks me up because when I tend to get a double message like that, sometimes I need to remember that for myself as well. So remember, relationships change and evolve and can be quite complex. So also remember that, again, you can't rush other people. But you can make your own decisions about what and who makes you happy. So you have the freedom of choice, and that will give you freedom of mind in the future. If you have any questions, my inbox is always open, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.